In this short video, we're going to go through a beginner's hip mobility routine. As you know, our hips are used for a lot of things, whether you're walking, getting out of a chair, sitting down in a chair, getting off the couch, anything from lunging to bending forward. Your hips are involved with many movements that you do in the course of a day. Many times when the hip doesn't move very well, it'll cause other compensations, whether it be in your knee, in your lower back. So the hips are like a central point for a lot of the movements. And if something isn't happening at the hip, whether it be flexion, extension, internal rotation, external rotation, you're going to have issues elsewhere in no time. More importantly, if you don't use it, you probably know that you lose it. So for the hip, what that means is you start to get some osteoarthritis. And there's no shortage of people that end up having a hip replacement, which probably could have been either prolonged or, as a matter of fact, avoided altogether had they been doing some hip mobility exercises throughout their life. So here's this beginner hip mobility routine. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into what's called a 90-90 position. So your knee is going to be at 90 degrees and your hip is at 90 degrees. Back here, same thing. The hip is at 90 degrees with your torso and the knee is at 90 degrees. And what you're going to do, I'm going to face this way here so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to put your hands out and you're going to transition to the other side. And you're going to go into a 90-90 position here. Then you're going to go back to the other side and you're going to transition here. What we're doing is we're forcing the hip into internal rotation on both sides. So you're going to do 5 movements to each side. So all in all, you're going to go 10 times, doing it 5 times on both sides. So that'll get the hip warmed up to go into internal rotation. Many of us lack hip internal rotation because we're always sitting most of the time. We have plenty of hip and external rotator tightness, which prevents us from moving into internal rotation. The next step is going to be a pigeon pose. So what you're going to do is you're going to get into the 90-90 position again. 90 here, 90 here, 90 here, and 90 here. What you're going to do is you're going to lean forward with your torso and you're going to go forward, and you can put your hands out if you want, and you're going to come back up. You're going to repeat this 5 times, and you can pause at this stretch, and you might actually feel your hip working here too because it is an internal rotation here. And you come back up. You do this 5 times, you switch sides, and you do it here. And you might notice that one side is a little tighter. On me, this side is a little tighter. So you can pause a little bit more on the side that's a little tighter. Make sure you lean with your chest. Don't do this. Lean forward. That's a great stretch. So that's the pigeon pose. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to do heel lifts and internal rotation. So you can stay right in this position. And what you're going to do is I'll turn right here so you can see what my leg is doing. You're going to sit up nice and tall. And what you're going to do is you're going to lift the leg. Now you're going to feel burn here. And you might actually feel like a cramp coming in, depending on the health of your internal rotators. And you're going to do 5 lifts. Once you're done on that side, you're going to turn over. And you're going to bring this hip into internal rotation by lifting the leg. Okay? So we call these hip or heel lift-offs, okay? And do 5 on both sides. The next one is the final one. You're going to put your hands on both sides here. And what you're going to do, this is the last one for a reason because it's a little bit more mobility and the first ones will kind of warm up the hip. You're going to lift the hip and you're going to bring it here. You're going to go back down. Make sure you end up in the 90-90 position and lift it back up. And obviously, you're going to do it on both sides, and you're going to do it 5 times on both sides. Now for me, this side is a lot easier than the right side. Take your time, right? So a quick review. Hip internal rotation, 5 times each. Right? Then you've got the pigeon pose, leaning forward with your chest, pausing, 5 reps, both sides. Then you have your heel lift-offs in internal rotation. Maintain an upright torso. And then you're gonna have your hip coming around like so for 5 reps. Begin with this. The key is to actually get going. It's a beginner's hip mobility routine. I'm Dr. Clayton Roach, and this was another episode of Double Doc Talk. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and write comments or questions, and we'll make sure to answer them. Take care.